Gentlemen, welcome here to the Concord Motorsports Park, this half-mile, five-turn oval, as the boys and girls of All Pro Sim get ready to do battle out here in prime time on the racetrack. We're already through qualifying as we're currently gridding right now for Heat 1 as we get ready to kick off another night of this high-octane racing action that you guys have grown so accustomed to loving right up here on the SRM channel. You got it dialed in on the YouTube, right? If you're new, slap the like button, ring the bell, become right of the family. We got 7 days of high octane racing action right here on SRM. I'm Matt Metler, my producing manager tonight, Jonathan Leach. Jonathan, how are you this evening, sir?
Well, doing pretty good. It's going to be a great time to get back into broadcasting. It's been a while since I've been on a show. Looking forward to some cool heat racing here for the All Pro Sim Series. Today we're at Concord. Yeah, you didn't mention that, and this is brought to you by Matt Vade Design Studio. So here in a couple moments, these drivers are going to be getting started with Heat 1. And Matt, you're more familiar with this league than I am, so do the best you can to tell me all about them.
Guys, like the melting pot, if you will, of all of the short track experts, the professionals from all around the country. And that's also across the pond and also extending into Canada as well. This group of individuals here, they put on some close, high-octane, door-to-door action here. And each and every lap is exhilarating. You better hold on as Heat 1 gets ready to roll off here. That 36 machine of Michael Fabric going to be on the pole. 57 of Kenneth Stokeland. In third, that's going to be Colt Blue. Brian Turnaushi, Trent Smith, Cody Brinson, Travis Wright, Chris Tinsel, and Louis Robinett, in ninth position. So a rather small field for the first qualifier here, but don't let that fool you. These guys are going to bring it like they do every single week. As that iRacing.com pace truck continues to lead the field. Hopefully you guys got your popcorn, got your beverages, strap yourself in. Because it's about to get wild out here on the racetrack. As those lights are now out on the pace truck, which means we are going racing this time bomb.
You know, Matt, it's going to be awfully strange. I've never seen a three-car race before, but you got a small racetrack right here, so this might be rather interesting. We'll look at this getting ready to go green. That pace car is in, and off they go.
That's right, we are live in prime time under green flag conditions in Heat 1. Out to a big lead. That car really ripped and gripped off the start. That is the 36 of Michael Fabric. He is almost out to a 1 second advantage already over that 45 machine of Colt Blue. In third right now, as you mentioned, Jonathan. This is certainly the smallest qualifier I have seen, but it is still all business as usual out there on the racetrack. I imagine with such a small field here, you're really not going to push the issue, as I believe the top three will have no problem converting into the big show, and that's really what the name of the game is here with these qualifiers, especially that last chance qualifier, which is going to come further on in the evening. But right now, that 36 rotating the bottom, getting a great run off. You see him carrying that momentum right out to that outside wall there as he dives it down into the corner. He is getting every piece of that racetrack as he is really working the bottom. That's right where you want to be on this racetrack, Jonathan.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not very familiar with this racetrack, but as you mentioned, it looks like you're trying to dive in as low as possible, and to get the best drive off, you're letting the car kind of float up to the outside wall coming out of the corner. In fact, it looks like our leader, Michael Favorite, just touched the outside wall there under heavy siege from Colt Blue.
Correct. Sometimes you'll see a little plume of smoke pop up, and that's kind of an indication of they're just getting everything they can out of the performance of that race car. A couple wall taps here and there, that's quite common. That threw me off the first couple races. I thought that was, typical contact in the outside wall that needed to be mentioned. Nope, that's these guys just getting good out of the race cars out here on the racetrack. As you can see, everyone's kind of giving each other a little bit of room on the racetrack right now. as they run 1, 2, 3. That's Michael Fabbert, Cole Blue, and Kenneth Storkson in that 57 machine. The only 3 competitors out there right now on the racetrack. And also remember, these laps do not count if there is a caution flag. These laps do not count under caution. These are timed events in the Heat 1, Heat 2 in LCQ format. Something a little different than we see in NASCAR ovals that we also have here on SRM. If you like that action too, we got plenty of that for you. But on the clock right now, as we're approaching that 6-minute and 10-second mark, you can see just how fast we're making time around this racetrack. Last time by for your leader, 15.76 seconds. Reaching speeds well over 110, 115 miles an hour. Laps will fly by under green flag conditions as he continues to maintain, or if not pull a little bit ahead of that 45 machine, as that deficit now is approaching the 1 second range.
Yeah, about 0.6, a little over half a second gap between each of these cars. Kenneth Storkson a little bit slower than the top 2. Not enough really in this kind of race to make it an issue. But what I do want to mention is he's having some connection issues. You see him blink in and blink out of the track. I'm sure you're seeing that as well. And that might be costly and a little damaging to drivers as we move on towards the feature.
You know, sim racing, we don't have a lot of the, we don't face a lot of the same dangers that they do in real life. But one of the things that, you know, will absolutely kill your race, kill your car, and really get the competition's attention around you is when you start blinking in that race car. Every time you blink, you come back in, you got to make sure your tires, or hope your tires are where they are. You don't blink back in and get, get into an incident on the racetrack. So really, that's one thing you want to try to get stabilized. That connection is that can wreak havoc all night. And you're absolutely right. We could not agree with you more. As we get ready here, set for heat number 2. That grid's already locked, ready to rock. That iRacing.com pace truck is back at the front of the field. So 1 down, 1 to go. We're going to put 10 minutes back on the clock, 15 laps on the board. So you got the 34 here at Kelsey Rogers, the 81 of Brandon Winkleson.
I wanted to mention I've got the track map up here. Excuse me, I'm losing my train of thought. Continue along, Matt.
You got it, boss man. In third, going through the starting order once again, just to pick up where we left off. In third, the 77 of Garrett Stroyaka. In fourth, the 17 of Corey Rogers. In fifth, the 136 machine of Ty Fredrickson. As these guys get set to roll.
That looks incorrect. It looks like we got Brandon Wilkinson, Kelsey Rogers, Corey Rogers, and Ed Papino. This kind of goes back to iRacing not putting the correct information through to our software, typically of heat races. So starting, it's going to be the 34 of Kelsey Rogers, Brandon Wilkinson to the outside, Corey Rogers starting row 2 on the inside, and Ed Papino, the 01, starting 4th.
Yeah, great catch there, Jonathan. Thank you. As you're 100% correct. We go over to iRacing here, get a little bit of a different lay of the grid there. So thanks for updating me on that, and everyone else here that's tuned in right now, getting a taste of this high octane action here on Monday night, of course, right here on SRM. As those lights go out onto the pace truck, he's going to pull it off down pit road, and look how tight these guys are bunched up. These 4 drivers getting ready to light this track on fire as they come around turn number 4, looking for that green flag. Brandon Wilkinson, that 81 machine, he is going to stand on the loud pedal. What a move on the top side of the racetrack, carrying that momentum in that 56 machine. And look at the gap that he's able to put on the field in literally 1 lap. That car is on a rail right now, John.
Yeah, he really took off rather quickly right there. Only about a 4 or 5 car advantage over Kelsey Rogers, but it's really looking like you're going to want to be on the outside lane for racing here. It seems like you get a better arc into the corner. And I'll take a quick moment and put up the race info track map. It's kind of like a miniature Pocono in a sense. Almost 3 distinct quarters. It's less than a half mile. It's 0.42 miles. Track temperature 71 degrees. And this is Concord. It's just a small Pocono, a lot less speeds. And it looks like every single one of these corners are different. You look at turn number 1, it's probably the longest corner. Turn 2 is pretty sharp. Turn 3 is kind of about a cross in between both of those. Can't drive every corner the same way. So I look at these heat races as a little bit of a learning experience in a sense for these drivers. Take a look at this. I imagine there might be a relation here of some sort. These two are right next to each other. Kelsey Rogers, Corey Rogers. Corey Rogers all over the back of Kelsey Rogers. Still giving room so far. Back up to Brandon Wilkinson. He's got about a 1.5 second gap back now to Kelsey Rogers.
Yeah, Kelsey Rogers just continuing to just gap the field right now. And this track does kind of have its own identity in every corner. No two are alike, and that is reminiscent of Pocono and some other distinctive tracks out there on the circuit. Here we go. Here's a battle brewing here on the racetrack, right around for that second place position. As you can see, that 34 machine kind of going into the defensive mode there, trying to take the line away. As he's going to really start to put the steam on the back bumper here. As he look to the inside of the... Thought twice about it there. You got to be careful when you... Take a look at that. The 34 is going to either get pushed or he's going to get loose coming or get tight going into the corner, bringing too much speed into it. Up the racetrack he goes, and the change for position for second spot, Corey Rogers up to second.
It just seemed like what happened there was the 34 car, Kelsey Rogers, just into the corner a little bit hot, trying to protect from the number 17 driver, Corey Rogers, and just got in a little bit too hot. The car didn't turn, which makes sense. It looks like a fairly flat track, and getting in, you really got to allow the car to roll in to the center. I'm assuming, I'm not familiar with driving here. It's been a long time since I've been in late models, but based on what I'm seeing with Brandon Wilkinson, how he's getting around the track, you don't want to drive it in too deep or it's just not going to turn.
On the head, the other thing is, these cars here, they have so much torque, so much power. You really have to respect the loud pedal on this race car as well, because that can bite you in a hurry, especially if you're a little too aggressive and you burn that right rear off. Kind of how we're seeing with that new that reincarnated Gen 4 that's been generating so much buzz and traction across the iRacing oval side of things. These guys right here, they know what that torque is like, and they know how to manage the balance of that race car. And you may be new to this track, but you've certainly hit the nail on the head, at least in my opinion, is Brandon Wilkinson in that 81 machine, getting it done. Oh, he comes up and kisses the wall. I'm not sure if that was planned.
I think he was a little on it still after the end of that heat right there. Looks like we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a warm-up here, Matt, giving these guys a little bit of track time before things really get started.
That is correct. Now we're going to get 10 minutes for everyone that's in the main feature tonight to go out there, get those fluids moving through that race car, come up to temperature, just kind of get initial feel for how the track is, where the grip is. And after that 10 minutes, we'll rack them and stack them. And then we're going to really bring this track to life, as we have one heck of a field lineup for you guys tonight in this main event here tonight. We're going to go 125 laps. We're going to invert the top 8. And while we're at it, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good time. So for that being said, since we're going to be in the warm-up, Matt and I are going to take a brief moment. We'll be back well before the end of the warm-up. And thank you for being here, Sim Racing Media, for the All-Pro Sim Series Super Late Models at Concord. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live here at Raceway Park. Jonathan, you can't make this happen without all the partners and sponsors. So let's make sure we get these guys the screen time they deserve. 2023 partners, MV Design Studios, America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan. Jonathan, that's up in your neck of the woods, if I'm not mistaken. Decals by Dillon, GA Promotions, Madison International Speedway, and Greater Insurance Services. And you certainly can't get it done without all the men and women, who represent these companies that, help us put on this show, and ultimately these drivers hit the racetrack each and every week. We couldn't be happier to have them on board with us. As we continue to work that warm-up session, Jonathan. Saw a couple saw some big action during the break there.
Sure did, though. I want to mention something new for this race, however, for the series. So new this week, 10 incident points. And if for any of those watching that don't understand incident points, if a car contacts the wall, car contacts another wall, or another car, you get incident points. This week, if a driver reaches 10 incident points, it's going to prompt a warning from iRacing, and it may force you into having a stop-and-go pit road penalty. Something to know about. This feature tonight is going to be 125 laps. The top 8 are going to invert. The previous winner, last week's winner, is going to be starting end of the line. Double file restarts, and anybody caught line hopping or choosing after the start finish line will be penalized 1 lap per incident. Only 1 set of tires in the pits. If you cause 2 cautions, your scorecard will be pulled. One more thing to know, weather is random generated, and the track wear is also randomly generated. Looking forward to a fun one, Matt. Time's arrived.
Where we're going to grid all these drivers here tonight that are in the feature. Everyone pretty much transferred here tonight. That's certainly, better feeling it be out there when you show up with your race car at the racetrack, knowing you're going to be in the main event versus sitting there on the sidelines like we've seen a couple drivers earlier on this season. Some really big changes there. 10 points. Ooh, that's going to be tough for these drivers. They have to keep that in mind, because I believe that is a big swing in the department of maintaining clean racing out there on the racetrack. 10 points around here with this many cars out there on the racetrack, and we are got 29 deep in the field tonight. That's going to be a tall task. Combine that with 1 set of Hoosier tires in the pits. That driver's going to have to be smooth. Treat that throttle pedal like a baby, nice and smooth out there on the racetrack. Easy on the brakes, keeping that car balanced. Because if you don't and you abuse it, you will lose that right rear early on in this one, and it will make for a miserable night out here on the racetrack when you're trying to put all that power and torque down to the pavement. As that iRacing.com pace truck starts to roll here once again, as that field starts to get set and lined up. Tristan Swanson in the 100 machine, Eric White, Justin Blackdeer, the 93 of James Polsky, the 18 of Michael Ostrick, Alex Papanini in that 39 machine. He's a big name here as well. Look for him to rebound after mayhem last week. Took the 39 out early. Drew Watton, Jeff Dillon, Christian Angel rounding out your top 10.
Missed a couple of guys in there, but that's not too much of a big deal. We're going to continue on down the line here. Starting 11th, it's going to be Jeff Dillon, Gleason Smith, Zach Coyer, Jeff Rogers. That's going to be your top 12. And Matt, the show is yours.
Live in the restart zone, we are under green flag action here tonight for the first time as these VAs come roaring, thundering to life here in prime time. Already big action up near the front. Big moment with that 18 machine. And the 22 had to go way to the top side of the racetrack. Eric White has the initial lead early in this one. He's carrying the torch around the racetrack. And that 6 machine Currently, that field is going to single file out. Everyone all playing nice early on so far, giving everyone plenty of room, especially with those new pointing infractions in place this week here.
We noticed Kelsey Rogers going down pit road for the start of this one. I'm not sure if that's the EOL policy because the number 34 driver was last week's winner from what I was reading on the previous standings. And we are under caution for the first time tonight. It looks like Aaron Hicks is involved. And that appears correct. He's sideways on front of the track. A lot of smoke being put off by his number 39 machine right there. See if we can't get an idea of what happened here.
Yeah, just as we were talking about last week's winner, Kelsey Rogers, mayhem breaks out on the racetrack here. Going back to looks at the 39 there. Oh, the old accordion effect right there on full display. Had to check up. That charging line just didn't have time to react to it. Got a little help in the back, and around he goes. Minimal damage on that race car, though. Should be in great shape to continue on. But that's what you have to be so careful of, and have that situational awareness out there on the racetrack. A little bobble like that, a little checkup, can really start to impact. You know, where it cooks off doesn't necessarily mean it ends there as well. Usually it kicks off a little further on back, like you've seen there, and you just got to be able to anticipate that. Sometimes you can't; it's impossible, and you wind up just with a torn up race car. But other times, just being on the ball, paying attention, having that situational awareness will help you get you through the thick of this thing and be alive when it counts at the end. As we're currently under the first caution of the day, or the evening, I should say, working lap 7. That 93 machine up 3 spots from where he started. That's James Polsky. The 6 of Eric White. The 100 machine of Tristan Swanson. Look for him to be a favorite here tonight. Anthony Dada in that 4th position. In 5th, Alex Papanini looking for a big rebound here tonight after disaster struck early and took him out of the race. You know, he and everyone in the chat rooting for that 39 machine. We appreciate you guys being on board with us tonight. If you got a favorite driver, make sure you sound off. Let us know. We'll try to get them some screen time as well. And remember, hit the like button, ring the bell. That's going to help the algorithm out. Get these drivers in front of more people just like you guys that love and support the cause out there on the racetrack. So we're currently still under yellow flag conditions here. Is Jonathan. It's like a snail's pace, compared to the speeds we're running under green flag conditions.
Oh, most definitely. I can't imagine going from the speeds that these guys are doing and then just kind of crawling around this track. Looks like they're stacking up right here, choosing their lanes. Really neat feature to add into super late model racing. Matt, I tell you what, I would love to do this, or at least to run some laps somewhere. I just can't imagine what kind of blast that'll be.
Here's what we're going to do for our company enhancement trip this year.
Well, there might be.
I think that's a great idea, sir.
Might be a way to do that. As we're back under green, James Pileski takes them into turn number 1. And guess what? They're already in turn number 2. And Eric White is step for step with James Pileski the entire way, less than a car length behind. Looks like they're going to single file out side by side for 2 rows back after that. Starting to get sorted by the end of lap 1 here, coming back to green.
Yeah, all is fair at the front of the field, but once you get back outside of the top 3, it is the hornet's nest of Bruin as they are 2 by 2. Like Jonathan said, some hard racing going on right now between that 100 machine and Tristan Swanson. Typically, he likes to really work that low side of the racetrack, just get right down there and work that bottom line. It's not able to, as that 2 machine of Drew Wutton is going to try to take that position away from him. Wasn't able to quite clear him there, had to get out of the throttle there. And when you do that here on the racetrack, you got to make sure you don't let one car by, because oftentimes others will follow through, carry that momentum as they kick you to the outside of the racetrack. Outside of that, we're all single file pretty much until we get further on back in the field right now. As you can see here, the 2 machine once again, Drew Watton working, going back to it. working the bottom side of the racetrack, really putting that pressure on the back of that 100 machine, trying to get inside his head, make a mistake, miss the corner in, and that's, oh, look at that, a little bit of a glove tap there. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but that was a moment there on the racetrack.
I tell you what, Matt, I've been hearing a bunch of beating and banging back and forth. I guess it's still all fair play and good fun. We haven't seen anyone else go around, but I'm definitely hearing drivers tap each other trying to get around. And we saw earlier in that heat race between the two Rogers, if you get into the corner hot, drive it in a little too much, or maybe you're trying to outrace somebody, you'll get tight and not be able to make the corner. And, you know, a little tap at a track like this might be more than enough to make that happen, to allow you to get by the driver.
Especially when that race car is really loaded up in the corner. You just breathe on the back of that thing. It's around here. You couldn't be more accurate in that statement that you made there. Other times when these cars, you know, remember from back in the 90s, the Pontiac slogan, wider is better. These race cars are wide, but they are heavy as well. And all that weight really gives those tires on that race car full-blown workout. So you have to respect that race car. You have to respect the power. And you have to be really decisive with the inputs on that steering wheel if you're going to want to make it to the end and have a hot rod that can compete when it comes down to the wire. So right now, it's pretty much just survive. You know, log some laps out here, avoid the wrecks, start working some strategy, and make sure that you're around for the end, as that's often been the case here with a lot of early race incidences in the first couple opening races here this season. That's probably why we're seeing that change in the point system here. And I believe it's a pretty drastic change here so far.
Well, it looks like the trend's going to continue because we're under caution right now. Or I believe Christian Angel. We're going to try to see what happened here. Looks like coming into turn number 1. Into turn number 2. A little bit of a bump by the 34. And round he goes.
Yeah, you were just talking about that. Just a little bit of contact there. It doesn't take much. Luckily, he was able to get it locked down before he made contact with the outside wall there. Because these cars, I mean, they'll take some punishment. Like you said, Jonathan, you were hearing some contact, you know, from multiple drivers around this racetrack. Rubbin's racing, and that can't be, you know, that can't be more of a statement maker than right here in this series. As sometimes you got to apply a little bit of pressure there just to get that lane to open up. But that is this style. That's what these guys love. And they're so good at putting on a great show out here on the racetrack each and every Monday night. Lights go off once again on that Chevrolet Silverado. Leading the field under this extended caution segment. At least it feels like it's a little bit extended. You know, oftentimes we say cautions breed cautions. That's certainly in play right now. So let's see if we can break the cycle. It's oh so critical to get some green flag laps in, especially in the early goings of these drivers. These crew chiefs can figure out the strategy, you know, for later in the race. And when you run a few laps and you slow back down to these pacing speeds, it allows those tires to cool off. And once you get a couple heat cycles on these tires, it really changes the molecular compound, the way they hook up and get into the racetrack, which can really make it difficult. So look for these guys to try to just get set, get back to green flag action, and starting to log some laps here. Get some of these green flag laps underneath their belt. As the field now chasing to line up at the front of the field. We're starting to get set, already going through the 3-4 complex here. The 93 machine, the 6 is going to be on the outside. That iRacing.com pace truck's going to pull off pit road. That's going to give that 93 of James Polsky the button. And he's going to fire off, and that bad boy comes to life. Look at the hole shot he gets. Oh, no, the 39. And the 6. The 6 is going to go space shuttle status, Nitro Circus, Travis Pastrana style. That was incredible.
We're just going to watch this entire restart.
I was not expecting that, Jonathan. I think that all starts there with the 39 just getting a little too aggressive there on the loud pedal, and he breaks traction, and that's going to check everyone up. And I believe it was the 6 machine. I think he hit the wall and went airborne. He just watch the 6 here.
Ooh, wow.
Up and over. Does a Ross Chastain eat your heart out. That was literally a wall ride. Is that back of that race car was inverted in the air. Luckily, the way it came down, it hit nose first.
But try to watch this from the viewpoint of Colt View right here. See what he sees coming to green.
Yeah, watch this. Just looking out the front window, going on board with that 45 machine of Colt View. Green flag's out, coming up to speed. Where there's smoke, there's trouble. Did a really good job of getting that car loaded up and really navigating through there. It's a lot tougher than it looks, especially when you're just getting the green flag. They were going to go on board. Now here's another look from the 39 of Alex Papini. I'm sorry. Green flag in the air. Start, finish line.
Okay.
Yeah, he just... Wow.
Get another view, see who else here is involved. Weston Ward on the restart.
Weston's going to be in that 5 ride. We got to go on board with Weston Ward.
Oh. A little bit further back of a replay here, my mistake.
Giving you guys some really exclusive viewpoints here, seeing exactly what these drivers are seeing as it happens in real time. Again, you can see the smoke pop off. You can see the cars just scattering. And luckily, by the time Weston Ward got up there, everyone did a great job of just checking up and getting rolled down. The other drivers that were in trouble, they did a great job of keeping their race cars off of the main line there. But you got to feel for that 6 of Gleason Smith. He took a wild ride. We're about to go back green flag racing here one more time. Re-rack him, restack him. That 93, he is going to send it one more time. Oh, he caught him on the snooze button a little bit there as he rockets out. But look at the closing rates. Here comes that 100 machine, Tristan Swanson. These cars really seem to reel each other back in. You can get a really good restart, but it just seems like they don't really have a problem, making that distance back up to that leader most of the time here. But Tristan Swanson now finds himself under duress as he's getting a lot of pressure from that 18 of Michael Ostrich in that 18 machine.
It's going to put James Polowski to the point, almost a second over Anthony Donta. Got that lead based on the side-by-side racing between Donta and Swanson, the 100. Third place, Michael Ostiak in 4th, and Jeff Dillon up to 5th. He's up 6 positions since the start of this one. Go back to 8th place. That's Matt Vade. He is up 10 positions on this one in the number 7 machine. Corey Rogers up the most positions on the night, plus 14. Lap 35, 125. About a third of the way through for this one. See if we can't log some green flag laps before it gets real hairy towards the end of the race.
These drivers know it too. You can see the escalation building from the drop of the green flag as we go through the early stages and the middle stages and later stages of the race. You can see the anticipation, the drama, just the determination from these drivers as they know that time's wearing out. There's laps running down as they really start to turn the aggression up out there on the racetrack. And like you mentioned, Jonathan, some really big movers with the minimal amount of laps that we've ran so far. As you said, shout out to Matt Vade in that 7 machine, up 10 spots. How about the 17 to Corey Rogers, up 15? I mean, that's impressive. That's lights out driving, especially making your way through this field. As there's been multiple cautions already early. So we go back up front. It is all James Polsky. As he is just turning and burning right now in that 93 machine. That car is hooked up on the racetrack. But Jonathan, that could change as we start to get rubber, worked into this racetrack. That's going to change the characteristics of how that race car is going to interact, with the track, the grip level. We'll have to be able to see if the 93 can manage this, or it can manage the same level of performance over the course of this feature tonight. As we go on board with that 18 machine of Michael Ostick, you can see him working just about a car length and a half back of that 100 machine, Tristan Swanson. Currently holding it down in third. Down a couple positions, but hey, he started on the pole, still holding on to that final podium spot in third. Well done in the early going. We're going to go back a little bit further, just inside the top 10. That's going to be the 17, Corey
And
Rogers.
caution's out.
And boom goes the dynamite, as Tony likes to say. We're going to find out where the dynamite and the boom came from here, hopefully. There it is. A little further on back in the field. I didn't necessarily catch exactly who it was. There we go. Looks like it's going to be the 45 rider, Colt Blue. He's going to be involved as he's working the top side of the racetrack there. Oh, look at that.
I don't think he got touched. I think he just got loose trying to make that move.
That definitely could be the case, or it could have been some net code there. Let's take a look again, Jonathan, and see what happens here. I'll let you call this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I almost think he got a little bit of help. The way that car flared. Take a look here one more time. Yeah, he definitely got some help there from the 00, not 007, 009 there of Michael Brenner.
I don't think he did. Oh, okay. Very little tap.
Just a little bit. But you're right. I mean, the first and second read on that, it looked like it was a net code, or he just got loose the way that he kind of, arced that car in there. But upon final review, just a little bit of contact. And that's, like you said earlier, that's all it takes. And when you put these cars in certain situations out there on the racetrack, when that car is just loaded up and it really can't take anymore, and you can see what happens. Just tiny, just a little bit of pressure on the back of that car. And that's all she wrote, is those Hoosiers just don't have any more grip left, and around you go.
I collected a couple cars there, and 39 had nowhere to go. Turn radius not very good on these things to the right. See him try to make that right turn and touches the wall again. I imagine these things aren't set up to turn well to the right.
I actually have only turned very few laps in these race cars. I can tell you they're fun. They're definitely exciting. They're torquey, and you really got to respect that car. But notice they're basically burning the tires down to get that thing spun around quick enough to get out of the way of oncoming traffic and point it in the right direction. Once again,
they're a really touchy car, Matt. That's the only thing that put it super touchy. And before we lost, or the caution came through right there, we were on board with those guys. Wanted to mention just how much of a rhythm it seems like this car and this racetrack is. We're going to watch for that on this run, see what kind of rhythm these guys can get into. I said pace truck comes down pit road, Matt.
Well, hey, you mentioned rhythm. That 93 has been vibing here in the early going. As once again, we go back to green flag racing here out on the racetrack. And just like last time, that 93 just, I don't know how he gets the forward bite out of that race car, but he's just got to set and get in that thing right off the grip of the green flag, as he has no problem pulling that car back out to the front in that 93 machine. James Polsky getting back to it, the 051 Anthony Dada, and in third spot, once again, that 18 machine of Michael Ostick. 1, 2, 3 right there is the 93, the 51, and the 18. We seem to be single filing out now, Jonathan, as you can see. A little more space, a little courtesy being given out there on the racetrack right now. Is, like you said, rhythmic racetrack. In order to get that rhythm and really just carry it over the course of a run, you got to give some guys some room here. As you can see how tight it gets in these closing rates when you're running so close together there, getting in these corners, because that's where the action's been unfolding. Right on corner entry, with all of the cautions that have unfolded so far, outside of that one restart that was just caught everyone by surprise. We continue here to watch. Going back up front on that 18. As you can see, he's got a little bit of an advantage over that 100 machine of Tristan Swanson. Not quite there to put any pressure yet on the back of the 51 machine, but that can soon change here. With the speeds and the lap times just being as blistering fast as they are here around this racetrack. As you were mentioning, Jonathan, before, we're already working lap 55. So even with the caution, even with the cautions in this race, we're still, just churning through these laps, as we're still running in the 15-second bracket. The leader last time at the line at 15.75. The second position, Anthony Data, a 15.67. And the fast lap on the field right now, I believe, is going to be the fastest car. I'm sorry, it's going to be that 02 machine of Drew Watton at a 15.68. That is flying out there right now.
Sure is. I'm trying to figure out the best time on track, and believe it or not, it's going to be our leader. 15.42, James Polsky, but he's not alone. Anthony Donta also with the 15.42. The top two cars, fastest cars on track, but everybody is within about a tenth of each other on lap time. So for this one, it's going to come down to the rhythm and the consistency, as we mentioned, almost to the halfway mark, about 2.5 laps. James Polsky's pretty much led all of them, and every single restart, like we just keep seeing, he just always gets that really massive start. But Anthony Danta's slowly been eating into that this last run right here. So they got about 60 laps on their tires. Perhaps Danta's feeling a little bit better on these older tires than James Polsky is. So look for Anthony Danta to make some noise here coming to the halfway mark in another lap.
Thoughts, and that's exactly correct. Danta there, just a long run monster, a machine, as he can really make really good use of that equipment over the long run. And you're seeing that, just like you said, Jonathan, as he's now starting to reel in, putting the first pressure we have seen really this evening on the back of that 93 machine. It has just been lights out for the first, segment of this race so far here tonight. You see that 51 of Donna really rolls the center of that corner. Look at how he gets down in there. Look at how he closes up on the back bumper of that 93. Is that 51 is just rolling the center of the corner, getting a great run, rotating the bottom, and then basically able to transition back to the loud pedal. The 93 kind of changed things up a little bit there to kind of mirror what the 051 was doing, and it seems to have helped James Polsky here just a little bit, as he's not getting that run now right up on the back of that race car, as they are certainly mirroring lap times once again. Last time by the top two, 15.89s, dead even across the board. You can't get much closer than that.
Gosh, and they're running 15.89s, 15.90. Now they are 2 to 3 tenths of a second faster than the rest of the field. That's pretty impressive when you got these two guys one by one right here, one waiting for the other to make a mistake. It's real simple for Polsky or Danta to overdrive this vehicle into the corner. And unfortunately, a caution as they're going to go by a machine right there. I think it's Colt Bew again, is going to probably bring these guys down pit road, I imagine. I could be wrong. And we're not going to get to see how that was going to cycle out. See what happened here.
Yeah, but it's going to be the 45 again, a Colt Bew. Go back here, look at the replay. Tell us the story.
God, he got
here.
help again.
Once again! I believe that was the 009 again of Michael Brenner, who played a role in the previous caution flag. Is he just... Let's see what happens here again. He's going to look, Jonathan. He's got a run there. Dives it down into the corner. Just
yeah,
I mean, just howitzers, the back of that 45 machine.
I don't know. Let's
Sends
let's
it-
let's watch this again here. Twice just feels weird to me. That's from Colt View. Try to watch it from Michael Berner's view here. Yeah, you know what? It looks like Colt View just got really slow. Very, very slow right there. You see what I'm talking about? One more time from Michael Berner's view.
Yeah, absolutely. And I never thought it was intentional. And like we were saying earlier, Jonathan, a little bit of a slip up, a miscue in that corner, and that is going to happen 90% of the time. As there's these drivers, there's no reaction time. You're literally on top of that race car and just carrying so much speed there through the corner. If there's a little bit of a bobble, a slip, you're pretty much guaranteed almost to get hit. Is now lap 72 being written in the books under caution. You know, once again, cannot do this without the support of all you guys. Got it tracked or dialed in on the SRM YouTube channel. We want to thank you for coming back here each and every Monday. And if you're new, join the family. Easiest way to do that, smash the like button, ring the bell. Racing action, of course, we got you covered right here. 7 days a week, high octane action right here on SRM, just like you're watching here right now, Monday night. Prime time, of course. Myself, Jonathan, up in the booth.
Wanted to thank our partners for today's show one more time. NV Design Studios, America's Auto Auction of West Michigan, Decals by Dillon, GA Promotions, Madison International Speedway, Greater Insurance Services. Matt, looks like we're coming to green with about a quarter of the race to go.
Yeah, just as we're pumping the partners, we're going to pump it back on the gas pedal as we are back live under full. Sorry about that. My mic decided to cut out there for a moment. As the 52 and the 56.
Caution
out there on the racetrack. I was going to say something didn't look right there as somehow my mic decided to go dark there for a moment. And I looked back up at the monitor, and there was a different picture than what I was expecting. As caution comes out once again, right after we go back to the green flag here. You can see there that 009 really. Oh, there it is. Corner exit calamity.
Man,
corner. What?
He sure is around everybody. I don't think this one has anything to do with him. Michael Fravor getting it wrong right here.
Yeah, Flavor got flattened. Maybe not flat, but I mean, sometimes
that's Polsky right there, but let's. I'm having a hard time getting a good angle right here. No, I really dislike the viewpoint from our in-air helicopter, but we're gonna try it.
Well, I think this may give us the best view, tell the best story so far here, at least.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so number 93, James Polsky, been our leader for most of the race, trying to get back to the front. I don't want to say a little impatient, but, you know, it's just a bit of a nudge, and got Fravor extremely loose into the corner. I imagine those corners are awfully slippery right now with these old tires, though.
That's the other part of the story too that we're not necessarily seeing because we're not the we're not in the driver's seat of that race car right now. But Polsky just popped the back of that car and around we go. And because we're just coming off of the restart, so many cars basically on top of each other, we can pitch a 10 over them, and as a result, everyone has to scatter, try to find a way through there. And that track will block off in a hurry.
And I want to mention from Alex Papini back, so 8th on back, at this point, all the drivers have pitted. So the top 7 are on old tires. A few of them came in, a couple of them came in lap 21, lap 23. That might have been for fuel, maybe tires. In fact, one of them looks like it was tires. So Kelsey Rogers perhaps has a slightly fresher tires than the cars 4th through 1st. And then you got Alex Papini, Christian Angel, Anthony Donta, Ostiak, and James Polsky back to 11th. All those guys all on fresh tires. It's going to be fun to see if Polsky, in about 50 laps here, can get back to the front. And I'm sorry, I made the announcement that it's a quarter remaining. It's about a third of the race still to go here. Plenty of time. Let's see what happens as we're back to green. Jeff Dillon, Brandon Wilkinson side by side into turn number 1. Still side by side out of 1, already into number 2. We haven't seen this at all night long. Side by side racing on the restart, as James Polsky is typically just up and away. Side by side start finish line, advantage Wilkinson.
Yeah, certainly advantage Wilkinson as Jeff Dillon dominates on the initial start, but Wilkinson is going to have the final say as we go back to the live side of things once again here. Is Wilkinson in that 81 up 21 positions, not 11, 21 to Wilkinson, who is now carrying the torch around this racetrack for the first time tonight. Jonathan, these drivers did a great job of not spinning the tires on the restart. It's one of the things you got to worry about when you kind of split the field like that. When you put all the old rubber up front, it's just so hard to hit it, to nail that restart right. You push it hard enough, but not over the hill and burn those tires off. We know what will happen. We've seen that earlier in the race. But those drivers doing a great job as it's starting to get dicey here. Further on back in the pack, that 2 machine there, the 22, close proximity racing real hard there, door to door. As caution once again out there on the racetrack. And they say cautions do breed cautions. The wind of change, much needed out here on the racetrack. We continue just to be a little bit in a, a little bit of a yellow flag here cycle. Just as most of the field came down pit road, took their only set of tires. That's why you've seen that massive invert at the front. As everyone now is trying to catch up to the pace car, catch back up to the leaders.
I'm starting to see a trend here of 2 drivers.
Yep,
starting to see a real world trend by these 2 now.
Yeah, we're starting to see the same lyrics in the song repeat itself. Sometimes, Jonathan, it's just not your night. It's like you're a magnet or a catalyst out there, and everything just seems to either come at you or you just tend to spark things off out there on the racetrack. And you're right. That 45 machine, a couple others out there tonight. That 009 car as well. Just seems like if there's something on the racetrack that's about to happen, it's either going to happen right in front of them, or them in that race car itself. As we're back under caution yet once again. That 81 machine up 21 spots. Wilkinson continues to carry the torch, lead the way. But remember, he has not yet pitted. He's going to have to come down pit road at some point in time, as well as others inside the top 5, to make it to the end of this one. But right now, all business, all smiles for that 81 at the front of the field right now. Jeff Dillon up 9 spots, having a great run tonight. And how about Alex Papini in that 39 machine, up 4 spots? Redemption tonight, making up for just an early exit last week. And he had very, very good speed in that race car in all phases. Short run, middle run, long run. Really showing what he can do in that race car here again tonight. Weston Ward, that 5 machine, having a great run as well, up 13 positions as those lights go back out on the truck. He's going to hook it hard down pit road. And once again, we're about to uncork these boys. About to rip them off the chain one more time. Look at the 56. Not sure if he jumped to start, but it sure looked like it. Oh my goodness, we're 3 wide. We got a big one out there on the racetrack. as we got a wad of race cars just filtering towards the bottom. Certainly not what these drivers wanted to
Oh,
see
look
yet
who's
again.
involved here.
Don't say it.
All those laps
no.
led.
Oh, that's heartbreak. See, but Jonathan, that's the risk you take, though. When you're the leader and you come down, and necessarily you don't have that whole field come with you, and you get mired back in traffic, suddenly that whole world around you that you've been in all race long changes, and you're right in the thick of things. And this is pretty much almost what happened to Alex Papini last week. This heartbreak there for that 93. The damage on that race car certainly going to produce some handling issues out there for him on the racetrack. Hopefully that toe's not knocked out. The steering wheel's still straight. He's able to manage, with the damage on that car. And we've seen that from other competitors throughout the course of this season so far. But they'll have some damage to the race car, but they'll still able to compete with it and keep it up front. But you can't help but feel for that 93 as he had such a strong run going and gets caught up in the biggest wreck, I believe, of the race so far, with multiple drivers being collected and just feeding down to the bottom of the racetrack. We're currently working, once again, another caution segment here, as we got, and of course, the minute I want to pull up the amount of laps that we currently have in the book so far, that statistic does not want to illuminate for me, so we'll come back to that. Jonathan, getting your first taste here, some short track, high octane, Friday night style racing. What are your thoughts so far?
It's been a while, and it makes me want to race. These are the most fun cars to race, Matt. I really like super late models. I haven't done it in a long time, and we're talking virtually, of course. I haven't strapped in behind one of these $30,000 cars and gone and destroyed it yet in my IRL life, but iRacing wise, they're so fun. They're so twitchy. You got to get it just right every single lap. They've got way too much power for the racetracks that they're on. They're just so much fun, and the racing, we've seen a lot of cool stuff. Now we're gonna leader early, way in the back. Polsky gonna be starting 18th right here. We're gonna see if he can make a late race charge back to the front. Alex Papini outside lane right here is Brandon Wilkinson, really on the money, kind of looking like James Polsky for the start of that one. Alex Papini was second, trying to hold off a surge from Drew Wooden, who's going to drop down into third.
Yeah, well said. Wilkerson certainly rocked that restart. Looking like the 93 machine earlier on in the run. Remember, he started in the 18th position. We're going to track his progress through the field here as we're really starting to heat up once again right around. Are you kidding me? Once again, caution back out on the racetrack, as I thought we were about to break that black leading cloud that's been over the track.
Hold on, I'm seeing. Let's see here. So it's not him who's in it, but he's okay. It showed that Colt View was in this one again, but he was not. Also shows Michael Burnham is in this one as well. And just kind of innocent bystander gets attacked right there. Let's look at Aaron Hicks, Zach Coyer.
Yeah, Aaron Hicks there in that 039 machine.
Oh, 92 right there. I think has a little bit to do with this.
It's almost like they all kind of had something to do with it, the way that it unfolded. You really got to slow it down to figure out what happened. It almost looked like the 93 got hip checked going into the corner, which accelerated his corner speed, and that then launched him. We can watch it one more time, perhaps from that angle, if that's possible. But I think that's what I seen there. I'd love to see it one more time just to be certain.
Actually,
but it You know, it looked like the 93 there had some help getting into the corner, which kind of accelerated his corner speed, and that was really the catalyst that set that one off. And then again, I could be wrong. It's just a strange looking incident. Yeah, he does. Oh, he doesn't come up and hit the 122. I'm sorry.
Like the 90. This looks like it's Polsky, you know, really in a hurry to get back to the front here. Just kind of tapped him just a bit and was just enough to go around. That's what we were looking to find out right there.
Yeah, he was fully committed, full send into the corner and just brought the heat a little too hard. And around he goes. The multiple cars collected once again here. As caution after caution, right after the restart, just seems to have a grasp over this field right now and this racetrack. Because that iRacing.com pace truck is getting its lease payments worth at least, logging laps out there on the field tonight. But look who's back to the front. Alex Papini in the 39 machine, 39 time, back on the front row, rocking the outside of the racetrack. Papini Nation asked for it. Let's see if he can deliver. As they're going to go back to the hot side of things, once again climbing up through the gearbox as the RPMs are screaming through the stratosphere, rumbling down into turns 1 and 2. Oh, look at that. Not again.
Oh, no. Oh, that looked brutal. That's why I don't drive the real things.
As a broadcaster, as a commentator, you hate even bringing up these things because it's almost like sometimes you mention the driver and then just catastrophe unfolds. Just as he was up there on the front row, looking like he was poised to get back to victory lane, other plans were written as Papini just got clobbered in the driver's side door. I mean, he ate it.
No, it was netcode.
Netcode set it off, and then watch the Crisco get administered here. His netcode lights the fuse, I believe. And then watch what happens here. That carnage. That 39 machine got off the ground just a little bit. Violent collision. And once again, your heartbreak for Papini. Because you would have to think that car is going to have some lengthy repairs done to it based off of that violent collision there as the car hooked back onto the racetrack. Just sit and duck, basically. Nowhere to go. Nowhere for the guys coming up coming up through the gearbox or just getting up to the full tilt around this racetrack. That 2 machine just delivers a massive blow to the 39 of Papini and nothing he can do about it. So once again, you guys and gals know the drill. That's going to bring the truck to the front once again as we're working lap 107. The distance, 125. So, Jonathan, it's getting to that time. And you've kind of seen it escalating out there on the racetrack. And I don't think it's done escalating yet. I think we still have another level or 2 left to go, perhaps. As more and more of these cars are all sustaining damage out there on the racetrack tonight. However, Drew Watt and Brandon Wilkinson still have pretty clean-looking race cars out there. I'm sorry, Drew Watt was the one that administered the blow to Papini. That car is a little tore up. But Wilkinson still has a good-looking race car. Let's see if he can pull off one of those restarts again that we've seen a couple times here now. When he's just able to just hole shot this race car. Just rotate the bottom once again. Still darn good restart there by Wilkinson. As that car just takes off out of a can. It looks like a slot car from back in the day. If you had those as a kid growing up, you know what I'm talking about. You set that car on the track and just grab the trigger and just let it rip. And that car was like it had all-wheel drive. And that's how Wilkinson's looking out there on these restarts. Very dominant, very strong. But how about this 2 machine? Drew Watton. You would think after being involved in a collision like that, it would upset that race car just a little bit. And right now, it looks just as good as it ever was, as he's starting to reel in that 81 machine. Look at this battle here on the racetrack for the lead. What you expect to see Friday night short track style right here on full display. Look at the pressure the 2 is trying to dial up on the back of Brandon Wilkinson. What he's trying to do right there, guys, at home, he's trying to make him make a mistake, make that driver feel his presence, look up in the mirror, get your eyes up off the racetrack, and that we've seen what we've seen tonight many times. What missing the corner by a little bit does. When you're the leader and you give up, you miss the corner, that 2 is going to pounce all over you, and he's going to steal that spot. But if you're that leader right now, Wilkinson, you just have to keep your eyes focused out that windshield. If I was inside that race car, I'm ripping the rear view mirror off. I am full send out front. Let the spotter do their job. But he is definitely trying to break the bearing right now of Wilkinson, putting all kinds of pressure, duress on the back of that race car. But Brandon Wilkinson remains strong as he gets a little wide off the corner there. Not sure if maybe he got loose, a little tire spin, or just drove it in. Oh, look at this. The 2 gets in there too hot now as he's got to tail slide it, drift it, and save it. And he's able to corral it, keep it straight. As it is really starting to pick up now as these laps continue to wind down. Lap 117 on the board. So they are going away quick, fast, and in a hurry. We go back through the field right now on that 22 machine. Jeff Rogers in that 92. He's down a couple spots tonight, still inside that top 20. Let's look at the battle here right now on the racetrack. It's really starting to get dicey. An area spot in the pack that we've had multiple incidences here tonight. That 93 machine, so strong early on, making his way back up to 9th position. What a run for that 18th starting spot where he restarted just a couple of restarts ago. But will he have the time? Does he have the drive, the performance in that race car still? Will we have ball cautions? That'll certainly help the cause. As you can see, just the octane, the energy on the racetrack, picking up these drivers, knowing they only have a few laps remaining here tonight. Is it 2? Oh, look at that. They just basically bounced off each other, able to keep it straight. It's really going to help that 93 machine as he had a full steep, he had full momentum coming into that corner. Really got a good run off. Gleason there in 9th, up 3 spots tonight from where he spotted just inside the top 10. Weston Ward in the 5 as well, having a great run, solidifying himself in the top 10, up 12 spots from where he started. Solid run tonight for Weston Ward in that race car out there tonight. Always, we got smoke, and when there's smoke, usually that means there's big wrecking. His cars are going end over end. As it looks like the X Games out there once again on the racetrack. This caution comes back out now, working lap 123. We're going to go back, take a look at the live replay here. Jonathan, what do you got queued up for us?
I think we're going to see what happens right here.
Ouch.
Ooh, it's avoiding the wreck. Car on the wall a little further down.
Yeah, that was the, I guess when I said monster trucking going on out there on the racetrack, I just happened to see that car going up. But yeah, watch. Oh my goodness. He got hooked at the last moment. Did you see that? Just when you think you're clear and out of it, the Phantom strikes. Oh my goodness. Watch this. That is just incredible. in that race car in the cockpit. In that moment, you think you're clear, and then nope, someone yanks your chain, and then the next thing you know, you are getting just tons of contact into the outside wall. His car went up on two wheels there. Definitely got some hang time. And caution once again unfolds on the racetrack. Catch your breath. Hold on. As it has gotten wild here tonight in the closing laps. What's going to happen here, Jonathan? Lap 127. 129 is the distance. We're under yellow. We may go the distance here under caution, which may take us to overtime. If you want a little more of this, you don't want it to go away quite yet, you may have your wish.
I think they're going to choose right here.
Or not. They're going to choose
right
here.
Yeah. Yep, choosing right here, which means they're going to go this time with 2 laps.
Right there on the cusp. They're going to get it fired back off.
Hey, now, they'll go hit that truck.
Yep.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good, Jonathan. Hey, they said in Days of Thunder, sometimes when sometimes you got to do something different, right? Go take a look at the pace truck and get back to the green flag. Holy smokes. Brandon Wilkinson, that was a restart, my friend. It's like he has spikes in the rear tires on that 56 machine. The way he just sets and rips on that car on the restart, that's impressive.
White flag's out for Wilkinson. It'll be over in a jiffy.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, there's wrecks.
Nope, someone had other plans. That's a 1, 2, 3 whack-a-mole deep in the field. Are we racing back to the line? No caution flag out yet. The winner tonight, Brandon Wilkinson, the 81 machine, getting it done on a great pit strategy, able to survive, be alive, execute, not break under the restarts, under the pressure from that 2 machine. And the 56 hits it big here tonight. Congratulations to the 81. Jonathan, you got your first full race under your belt. Are you hooked or not?
Oh, this was a lot of fun. Take a look at this, though. You know, make it more interesting. The driver who led all those laps took tires, went a little further back, got into an incident. James Polsky manages 3rd. And Corey Rogers 2nd, up 22 spots on the night. 22.
Impressive. Yeah, it's hard to really, you almost don't believe what your eyes are telling you. And I totally understand that. And I've gotten better, but I still have a hard time with some of the positions gained out there, especially at the rate that some of these drivers accomplish it and make it happen out there on the racetrack. James gets back to the podium spot, but what a drive, Jonathan, coming back through that field with the damage on the race car. But how about roll in the dice? How bad do you want it? The drive, the determination in that 81 machine of Brandon Wilkinson. What a drive, up 21 spots. 2nd place, similar story. Corey Rogers up 22. Great battling, great drive. What a race here tonight. Is it leaves you every time want more laps on the board.
Wow, yeah, what an ending to a race. We're gonna go ahead and put the results up right here and start going through those. Brandon Wilkinson, we saw him really the whole race, but he didn't really take the lead until Polsky gave it up for tires, and Wilkinson never took tires. Came down pit road once on lap 6. One time. Corey Rogers finished 2nd. It looks like he only got tires one time. I'm kind of flabbergasted, wondering how he finished 2nd. But he finished 2nd. And James Polsky led a lot of laps all night long, pitted on lap 69, rounds out the field, 3rd place. Weston Ward, we saw him with a little bit of trouble early, up 15 spots, finishes 4th, and Gleason Smith rounds out the top 5.
5 in 6th position. That is going to be Anthony Donna in that 051 machine. 7th position, up 11 spots, Matt Vade. Also want to thank him for sponsoring the series here as well. All that he does for these guys right here in this series, he comes home in 7th, up 11 spots here tonight. In 8th, that's going to be the 13th of Zach Coyer. Residing in 9th, just inside the top 10, slid back a couple spots, but made the best of it, that 22 machine of Justin Blackdeer. Rounding out the top 10, the final spot inside, of course, the 29 ride of Brett McCoy. In 11th, Aaron Hicks. 12th, Christian Angel. 13th, Jeff Rogers in that 92 machine. 14th, Jeff Dillon. That 52 had a lot to drive through, a lot of adversity to overcome. His action was popping off around that race car at times tonight, that 14th position. 15th, Steve Wright in the 61 ride. 16th, Michael Favorite in that 36 machine, up 5 spots tonight from where he started. 17th, that's going to be John Held in that 122 machine. 18th, that's going to be the 45 of Colt Blue. Again, just seemed like he was a magnet tonight. Just could not get out of harm's way at times out there on the racetrack. Great to see he comes home with a top 20 finish there. In 19th, was strong early on once again, but Calamity Corner strikes the 100 machine of Tristan Swanson as he brings it home in 19th. In 20th, Kelsey Rogers in that 34 machine. 21st belongs to the 02 of Drew Watton, who administered that huge shot at the front of the field, if you remember. Just one of the biggest impacts I've seen on a restart in a long time. I remember that for a long time. Drew Watton brings it home 21st. Michael Berner in that 009 car, 22nd position. Alex Papini once again, heartbreak as he gets back to the front row and mayhem breaks loose on the restart, sending Alex Papini back to the 23rd position once again with late race heartbreak. 24th, Michael Ostick in that 18 machine. He was strong at times early on, has some trouble, winds up deep in the field, 24th in this one. 25th, Eric White in that 6 machine. 26th, Kenneth Storkson. 27th, Brent Smith. And I believe that is the remainder of the field here tonight. Is I believe the last couple there were not actually started in the race and race control. As we have rounding out our 25, 26 drivers here tonight that took the green flag, but at the front of the field, surviving and aliving. What a run by the 81 of Brandon Wilkerson, Jonathan.
Yeah, really great racing by Wilkinson. He was up front the entire time. Looks like Wilkinson and Polsky are both, looks like they'll both be available for a brief interview. Matt, we're going to step away for a quick second, double check with them, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, back with you. About to interview our top couple drivers. But before we do that, I want to thank the partners for the All-Pro Sim Super Late models one more time. That's MV Design Studio, America's Auto Auction of West Michigan, Decals by Dillon, GA Promotions, Madison International Speedway, and Greater Insurance Services. We're going to have Brandon Wilkinson, tonight's winner, and James Polsky, and they're going to be interviewed by Matt. Matt, take it away. And it'll be James first.
Booth tonight. What a drive, what a performance by you, especially in that early going. Dominant race car, restart after restart. Walk me through that initial point of the race. At that point in time, did you feel like you had a car that was capable of winning tonight?
Well, I can't qualify for shit, so I knew as long as I was somewhere in the invert, I'd be all right. I can always race good. The car was good. I mean, this track, I kind of, I'm not gonna say it's my favorite, but for some reason, I can race good here, right? So first half of the race, I was trying to just buy my time, just log laps, and trying to keep that distance between second place and myself. And it was going good, but having caution every 5 laps doesn't help. But we were good until I decided to make the stupid mistake of taking tires somewhere around the halfway point, and then it turned into a shit show. And well, it is what it is.
Understand where you're going with that, James. And obviously, I can hear the disappointment in your voice, especially with having that hot rod performance out there the way that it did. But the field got split a little bit there when you came down pit road, put Dr. Fieldgood's on that race car. And then unfortunately, you get caught up in a big one there. But how about the other side of that, though? You come out of that, you're 18th, I believe, there on the restart. Walk me through that drive back towards the front. How did you get through there? How did you avoid those wrecks and get that car, that 93 machine, back up to a third place finish? I mean, that's a statement.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's hard back there because there's a lot of people that are not very good. So it's really hard to work your way through it. I ended up getting into, I forget who, because they don't do what I expect them to do, right? They don't do what the front runners do, right? Like they break early, they do things wrong. Like that's why they're back there. So not to knock them, but like that's just how it is. And it's really hard to work your way through there. I got lucky with some of the cautions, with some of the wrecks. I got lucky that I can get through there. But it's really, once you're back there, it's really bad. And everybody wants to block you. Like it's the last lap. They all want to run defensive. Like Jeff later in the run, I'm on the outside of Jeff and he just doors me. And yeah, then I sent him. I'm sorry I did, but I did. It's like nobody has respect for anybody. So I'm not going to race. If you want to race me like a shitbag, I'm going to race you back like a shitbag. Like, that's it. Like, I don't want to. That's not my goal. I've turned millions of laps not being a shitbag. But if you want to race me like one, I'm going to race you like one too. That's kind of where I'm at.
Basically, I'm going to treat you how you treat me.
Yes, 100%.
And cannot disagree with that. As you're right, there's a lot of different driving styles that were on display out there on the racetrack tonight. You mentioned getting into the corners, and I wanted to ask you about that. It seemed those corners were so treacherous, where if a little bit of the momentum changed at the wrong time, disaster was unfolding. Was that just because the cars were just on the verge of grip at that point in time in the corner? Or is it just because those cars get so light and are so subjected to that contact with just a little bit of pressure on that race car, it's just going to flare off the racetrack?
I definitely think it's a mixture, right? Depending on where you're at on the track. Like for sure during that little tri-oval deal, like if you hit somebody there, it's a wrap. Because right there, the car's really light. You're just kind of floating through there. But, I don't know. Going into 3, you're kind of free going into 3. So if you hit somebody there, they're probably definitely going to go around. This track is just tough. It's a tough track altogether. It's hard. I knew as soon as I was turning practice laps that this is how this race was going to go. And it's there's a handful of guys who are really good. And then there's a handful of guys who are not so good. And when you have that combo, bad things happen. Cautions happen. You have the really aggressive people like myself who know how to control their car and can run fast, or Brandon, who's like very fast but not as aggressive, but he's really fast. You know, like I don't know, you just get that mix. It's a fucking tornado.
And like he said, that 93 machine, respect isn't given, it is earned. Before we cut you loose, who helps you get it done on that 93 machine each week right here on the racing surface?
Well, I gotta thank the posse. They're my main men right there. Loco Toco Designs, Epic Media. You know, those are pretty much it right there.
There you have it, gentlemen, surviving and alive, being able to coming out the other side of adversity in that 93 machine, climbing the ladder deep late in that one, all the way up to the third spot. Your third place finisher tonight, that is James Polsky. Jonathan, back to you.
Well, Matt, excellent interview right there, James. Great run, but tough run. Yeah, we talked about it a lot when you got stuck in the back, what was going to happen. And like you said, things happen, especially when you're Mardon in the back. But we're going to move on over to Brandon Wilkinson now. Brandon, you were up front for a large part of the race, but it did seem like you were playing second fiddle to James for a little bit. And then once he chose to take tires and it pushed him back, it kind of, you were up front away from, let's call them some more troubled drivers. Do you want to mention or talk about that? Did you think you could race him? Or do you think he had a slightly better car than you? And what about not taking tires? Because it doesn't look like you took tires at all in this race. And what were your thoughts or reasons for not taking them?
Yeah, I mean, we started in the back there. Obviously, I didn't qualify, so I had to go through one of those last chance deals, and I just kind of rode around in last there for the first 30 laps, and kind of just stayed out of trouble there. I figured with this many cars, and I've been around way too long to know that the inevitable was going to happen there. So just kind of waited. There was a pretty sizable wreck there about halfway through, and it kind of jumped me up there to the top 10, and then. That's kind of where that caution came out. Everybody pitted, and I was like, man, I don't feel like I've gone more than 40% of my pace here. So we just decided to stay out there, and we were fourth, and I didn't think we were going to have too much of a chance to take the lead. And then the first three in front of me on the choose cone took the bottom. So I was like, oh, well, the top was definitely preferred on restarts, especially, when you're better than the guy that you're racing. So just got a good restart. Was super fortunate to take the lead there, get clean air, and then I kind of tried to ride a little bit. I got fortunate that Wooten took out Alex. Alex was good, and James ran into some trouble. It kind of had to go our way, but obviously it did go our way. So just super fortunate. Everything kind of played into our hand tonight, and I felt like the only way to beat them there was to kind of play chess there. So that's just what we did.
Well, it seems like it worked out for you. We did notice that the top line pretty much immediately looked like it was the place to go, and I think you were the car that showed us that, or the driver that showed us that. So great run for you. Congrats to the win. Matt, any last thoughts?
It was everything we thought it was going to be, and then some. The drama, the carnage on the racetrack. Some of these wrecks that we've seen tonight were just were next level. Very impressive for a half-mile racetrack. And what great interviews from the drivers, giving everyone at home just getting inside the minds and in-depth perspective of how these races unfolded, for the 93 of James Polsky. And your winner tonight, Brandon Wilkinson, who was rocking the top, rocking the restarts, and getting it done here in the 81 machine. Hopefully all you guys had it locked into the SRM YouTube channel. Make sure you smack the like button, ring the bell, so make sure you come back here next week, cheer on your favorite driver here once again. As it was everything we thought it would be, and then some, Jonathan. Want to appreciate you for coming on board here tonight, calling the shots. Excellent camera angles here tonight. But once again, this chapter here is written in the books, and we got to pick it up next Monday night to see where the next chapter takes us. But right now, we are done for the evening. Don't want it to end, but hey, all good things must come to an end right here on SRN.